Hi, this is Streampunks, and welcome to Let's Draw on the French Girls app featuring Cubbybear. So, for those of you who are new to French Girls, you can go to www.frenchgirlsapp.com to find out more. It is an application that is available on iOS and allows you to draw selfies, pictures of other people, or you can have pictures drawn of yourself. So if you've always wanted to go to town and get some creative tools together and just draw random people, you can have a lot of fun with this application. Or if you always wanted to take really creative pictures and selfies of yourself and finally get that artistic attention that you always felt that you deserved, you can do that too. So I've enabled the tracing feature for this drawing, and I'm just going to use it for the face or the head. And what I've gone through is I'm doing base colors, and I put down base colors for the face and the hair, and I'm going through and I'm doing the flesh tones right now, and just putting in shadow and shading where I think it needs to go. And this is what the composite looks like without the tracing paper background, which is starting to look pretty good. It's starting to take the shape that I want it to. So sometimes I use the tracing paper. Sometimes I just kind of use it to rough out what I want and get the shading right. Sometimes I just use it for reference. So I don't know. I don't use it sometimes. Sometimes I use it. It's just your personal preference. So now I'm going to go through and do a little bit of work on the shading for the eyes and the nose, and maybe work on the eyebrows a little bit. So you can see right here, I'm going through and just kind of outlining stuff and different colors and just making sure that I got the eyebrows, at least a base color down for the eyebrows. And then she looks like she needs a little bit more, maybe some more flesh tones. Maybe we can just check out, see what it looks like. And yeah, there we go. And just put a little bit more flesh tones in there. My drawings aren't really super realistic; they're more cartoony. But I like to kind of get the shading close to it right, and just play with the shading until I get it. I don't have a definite, okay, I'm going to do this color pattern here, and I'm going to do this color pattern here, because a lot of the stuff I'm still learning. So I'm going through, and when I do a drawing, I just try to match it or how I think it looks. And I'm learning that you can't actually always match up the color perfectly, or I don't have the skill to do that. So I'll have to play with it and just kind of get it kind of close. And what happens with my drawings is sometimes they look just a little unfinished because I have a lot of rough area where I didn't, or it's not easily cleaned up. So I'm working on that. I'm just trying to get the style down, and then I'll try to learn how to polish everything a little bit better by making crisper, sharper lines. But I think it's coming along okay. As I'm looking at this drawing, I'm seeing the mistake that I made while I was recording it. So here's a note. The eyes. The eyes have to look pretty decent. I mean, you can't really cheat on the eyes. If you're trying to match a drawing and it just doesn't look right, it's especially not going to look right if you don't get the eyes. I mean, to me, the eyes are pretty important. And you can see I've made a mistake here. I'm probably going to have to go back. I think I go back and fix it. On the right eye, or her left eye, you can see on the right side that I kind of have the shape close, but it's not quite right. And so her eye looks a little splinched. And I can even just tell right now that just going back and doing the recording that it's bugging me. So I decided to work on something else for a while, start working on the hair. And once you have that base coat of hair down, I just go back and just do really fine, like 2 to 4 point other lines on it, so I can get some of the highlights and the dark parts right. And I just, hair is just really hard for me, so I have to go back and lovingly lay down a line of hair, and then lay down another line of hair, and then just keep working it like somebody would work pottery or sculpture, because I just need a lot of practice at it. So I just don't like the way it looks when it initially comes out. Some people can do hair perfectly, and they can do the lines and it just looks perfect. So hair is a really big challenge for me. So I always try to go back and spend a lot of time on it, because I either want like one base color for the hair, or I want it to look, pretty good with lines and detail work. So looking at this, I want to get the shading right on that left eye. You can tell I keep looking at it and it's bugging me, and I did a crazy thing. So now I'm going back and redrawing the eye. See, there you go, right there. I'm going back and fixing the eye. So eyes are super important. And I went back and actually checked one of her other selfies, and I saw that she had blue eyes in some of her selfies. So I just went ahead and took some liberties and just kind of went with a blue tint on the eyes, just to match other selfies that I've seen. So the interesting thing about the actual eyeball is rarely are they just really white. There are always some kind of gray in there and some reds in there. You can see like little trace red lines in the eyeball when you look in the mirror. I guess they're blood vessels or whatever they are. They're just red, and when you don't get any sleep, they look really red. So bear in mind when you draw an eyeball, it's not just always going to be white. Lips. So I tried to put some detail into the lips, and that kind of worked, but I think I just had to go back and rework them. So here you go. I'm going back and just redoing the hair and just getting more browns and dark browns and blacks into it, and making sure that I just do the highlights actually occur in the picture, because I have a lot of problems with doing the light shading. I'm better with the dark shading, but I just don't know when to liberally use the color white just to replace a color. So I'm always kind of like draw a little bit here, draw a little bit there, and just kind of layer the white so it's not as predominant that you can just see, hey, somebody just drew a white line here. It just bugs me to do that. So far I don't feel comfortable with it. So I went back and did her shading, and thought the shading was a little dark, so I went back and lightened it up, and it's starting to look a little bit better. And then I'm going back, just like I said, and reworking that eye until I'm happy with it, because the eyes are very important. I don't know if I mentioned that, but the eyes are pretty important, just so you know, FYI. So this segment right here, I'm just going to call lips, because I spend the next, I don't know, minute and a half, 2 minutes at this sped up speed, just working on lips and trying different things. So I'm looking here and I'm trying to see the shading in her lips. I mean, she has the perfect example of lips. Look at the top lip and then just a rounded bottom lip. I mean, you go through and you want to put some darks and dark colors, maybe even a dark red, and just bring out that middle section of the lip where they meet right before you see teeth, because she's got her lips closed. So I'm trying to experiment with some detail work and trying different things, and that's not working. That doesn't work at all. So I'm probably going to go back and maybe put another color over it, or maybe work on something else for a while. So it's very important to get a little bit of the eyelashes on and make it look nice, and just try to really be faithful to the images you can. So there you go. I'm pretty much done with the head. The detail work I did was looking okay. So we get to do the fun stuff. We get to do the body. So I get to make up a pose. I'm drawing stick figures right now and just trying to experiment and see what I can make Cubbybear do. So looking at the background, there's a lot of snow out there and she's bundled up in her coat. So let's put her in a really fun pose where she's skating around a pond, a frozen pond. So I look at it, and it looks like she's actually, I don't know, figure skating or just having fun outside, and give her jacket. So draw the rough outline of the jacket and draw in some of the blacks with transparency, and then go back and do some of the detail work for the off-color white. And just going to have pants, skates. I don't know what color pants, so we'll just work on that. Skates and mittens. So Cubbybear is going to have her mittens. And I'm just going to go back and just recolor it in, make them a little bit bigger, because mittens aren't small. They're not oven mitts, but they're just mittens. And maybe do some detail work and flesh out the jacket a little bit better. Kind of keep faithful to the style, but maybe not the actual size in the picture, and just try to get a little bit creative with it and draw the stuff that you want to draw. So here are the shoes, looking at the skates, put some detail work on the skates. And they're starting to look pretty good. A little fun fact, this drawing took me about an hour. And what you're looking at here is, I think, about 400% speed increase. So all my drawings take about, either 30 minutes or they take me an hour or they take me 2 hours. There's usually just not any time in between. Usually it's roughly half an hour, or 2 hours. So if I want to sit down and do a whole bunch of detail work, it's 2 hours. Sometimes I'll do one and just do the base layers and rough out everything and then come back and then do the detail work or the middling work and then work on the detail later. But usually I do it all in one sitting. So we've got her base coat done. So now I'm just going back and just outlining the white patches, and they look a little too white. So I think I'm going to have to wind up adding off-white or that eggshell white just to make it look more like her actual coat. So this looks pretty good. I mean, this looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. So I think she needs a scarf, because if you're going to be skating, you want a sense of motion and speed. So I think a scarf is a fun thing to put on her to show that she's moving around and she's going at a pace, a good clip, and having a good time. So I'll go back and draw the scarf, and then probably draw the detail work that nobody will ever think twice about when they see it. Because unfortunately, if you do a good drawing, they're not going to notice every single detail that you do, even if you go back and just draw tiny little off stripes on the scarf. But it makes you feel better. Looking at that, that's coming out pretty nicely. I like the pose. I think it's a good character pose, and it goes great with her selfie. And it goes great with the snow in the background, and I'm just going through and just being lazy and tracing the fence and kind of just roughing out some trees and wrapping this picture up. So I think we need some color in, some browns and some greens on the trees to show the contrast between the snow and the spring, motif. They're contrasting things. It's spring and there's snow and she's skating and it's just having a fun time. On the French Girls app already, make sure you follow Cubbybear. And if you get a chance, Streampunks. So I think that this is wrapping up. You can see that I'm going through and doing the trees. They're starting to look awesome. All kinds of awesome. And then I might put some coloring on the skating rink frozen pond. I think that's actually a good idea, and I think that's exactly what I did. So I think we'll go with blue, because light blue is the color of ice. Alright, we'll put some detail work on her skates. And here's the sun. Sun's out. It's a nice, beautiful day. And I probably want to put my SIG on there. There you go, Streampunks. And apparently I'm a very picky person. I am very picky about my logo. I just want to make sure that the S is perfect. There we go. That actually looks like my perfect S. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed Let's Draw.